do matches everything I heard. Don't chase the win, I left that to the birds. I can't go back from the things that I heard. I can't go back from the things that I heard, no. That's why I'm good where I'm at, though. That's where I'm at, though. Good where I'm at, though. That's where I'm at, though. Good where I'm at, though. That's where I'm at, though. Good where I'm at, though. That's where I'm at, though. Good, 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 good where I'm at, though. Good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the All Sports Focus podcast on the All Sports Focus Network. I'm here today with my co-host, Pat. Pat, say what's up.
What up?
We're going to be doing a little NFL draft recap here as the draft just finished up this last weekend. Obviously, there were some big storylines coming out of this draft. Some people that slid in the first round, some people that went earlier than expected. So that's really what we're going to be talking about today, just kind of recapping the whole thing as we kind of wrap up the NFL offseason. And it kind of is in a dead period here for the next, I would say, 2 or 3 months, really, until training camp starts. So not much football talk from us after this episode. So we're going to jump right into it. So starting off here with our biggest winners and losers. Pap, is there a team that really jumps out to you as the biggest winner or one of the biggest?
If I were to say just one winner comes to mind, I really do like what the Commanders did. I mean, they obviously, I think the biggest thing is obviously what makes them a winner obviously is their first pick being Sonny Styles, and that's someone who's gonna replace Bobby Wagner once he's done. But they also had oh my god, I'm blanking on his name now. Jesus. Whoever his freaking second round pick was, I actually also liked it. I'm gonna look it up right now. Give me a second.
I actually don't remember who it was.
Commanders second round pick. Oh, they didn't have a second round pick. It was third round. It was third round. Third round pick. Let's see who it is. Antonio Williams, a wide receiver. He's 5'11". I remember because I was watching it. I didn't really know who he was before. I don't know why I was rotting in my room. I was watching the draft. I was 5'11". Let me just look at his highlights. Kid's a baller. Kid's an absolute baller. I don't even know what college he went to. Clemson. Yeah, he went to Clemson. Kid, we just and he was getting all around the field. I was like, yeah, the Commanders definitely won this draft with getting Sonny Styles pretty later than people thought, and then getting this guy in third round.
All right. My biggest winner, funny enough, I think, even though they kind of made another head-scratching decision taking another quarterback, but I think the Cleveland Browns did really well in this draft. Had 2 really great first-round picks, and Fanu, the tackle from Utah, and then Concepcion from Texas A&M. I think those are 2 guys that can come in and start right away for them. And then I'm pretty sure they got Denzel Boston as well in the second round from Washington, who was another projected late-round wide receiver guy. And I think those are all great picks. They had to really rebuild the offensive line, and that's what they did. So shout out Cleveland. They had a pretty good draft, but who the hell is going to play quarterback is still the biggest question for them. So time will only tell. I saw a report today where Deshaun Watson is currently leading the race after the mini camp last week. I'm not even going to get into that. I don't know what the best option would be. That feels like they have 5 different quarterbacks on their roster. So we won't get into that too much. But on the flip side of things here, Pap, who do you think was one of the biggest losers of this NFL draft?
I think a team that I don't think was very effective is the 49ers. And what's new with them? They always draft bad. I mean, they trade out of day one, but that's not crazy. I don't hate on people trading out of day one, but then they go to day 2 and they don't really fix their depth. They go and also I always say they needed offensive tackle. I was saying that with my buddies. They needed offensive tackle because Trent Williams is about to be 40 in I think a year. That's the issue. He has probably 1 more year left in the tank and you don't address it. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, those are guys who missed a lot of time. And I think that's where you can go get yourself maybe someone to help them out, like an edge rusher, a safety, something like that. And it just didn't make sense for where they went because I think they went with
they took a
wide receiver from Ole Miss. The wide receiver from Ole Miss, and they also went with another guy. I don't know if it was a second round, but
running back in the third round as well.
That's what it was. It was a running back and receiver because I was going to bring it up because I was going to say the 49ers no matter what. Because you see the reporter asked John Lynch, he literally goes like this. He goes, with their history of drafting bad, how do you address that with the front office? And he goes, I don't think that's something we can discuss here. I was like, what the fuck?
What kind of question is that?
And I was just they didn't address what they needed because their team is aging, whether they like it or not. Like Nick Bosa, I mean, he's still young. Like he'll still play for a lot of time. But Fred Warner will play for not much, maybe 5 years, especially if he keeps getting injured. That's a pretty bad injury he had. And then like they're literally like they didn't address any problems. They just like added on to like I think that Loki made the problems worse. They didn't address the problems.
I feel like they added on to positions that they already had key players at. Like they signed Mike Evans, that was their big free agent signing, and then they go and draft a wide receiver with their first pick in this draft. When there was a ton of their D line needs a lot of help, like you said, with Nick Bosa coming off of an injury. There was multiple D tackle. They could have taken Caden McDonald, the D tackle from Ohio State, with that pick. But for me, I think one of the biggest losers was the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did not have a first round pick. Their first pick was the 56th pick in the second round. And I just felt like I saw a stat where they drafted like near 30 spots above their projected draft spot for like their first 5 selections. Like they were just total reaches of picks. It doesn't really seem like they filled really many holes. I mean, they lost like Devin Lloyd and they lost Travis Achan now. And it really didn't really fill any of those spots. I don't feel moved by the Jaguars. They're putting a lot of reliance on if Travis Hunter comes back healthy and Brian Thomas can kind of get back to his rookie year form. But, we'll be interested to see. I think Liam Cohen's still a really good coach, but did not have a very good draft for the Jaguars here. And then moving on here to our second topic, Pat, is there any we'll focus really closely here on like the top 15 picks. Do you think there was like a best player fit for a team of those top 15 picks that like really stands out to you? That was like, wow, that was a great pick.
Caleb Downs to Dallas, man. God, that might be the pick of the draft. That is a great. I mean, that just when I think of the Cowboys, I was like, that just makes sense. At first, it like literally just made sense to me. It was like that's just a. I mean, he has that swagger. He has that. He fits the Cowboys. He's probably a top. I would say top 5 player in the draft, and you got him. They got him at 11. They got him at 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's someone who's going to be instant impact. He has all pro potential, and that's literally like what they needed. Like they had one of the worst defenses in the league, and they're going to get their quarterback on defense right there. So
yeah.
When I just think of like great pick, that's going to work out. I just don't see I see a very high floor in this kid. So
yep. I was very disappointed when the Giants didn't draft him with the 10th pick when he was still there, but in the long run, I think it worked out best. Obviously, it hurt watching him go to the Cowboys out of all teams, but I completely agree with you saying he was a really good pick. For my pick here, I think someone who really grew on me as the draft process went on was Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. And it's not even really he's like a good fit because he could have gone to any team in the NFL and been a good fit. But I just think the Cardinals made a very smart choice because obviously they don't really have their franchise quarterback yet. But being able to have, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., you got Trey McBride, and now you got Jeremiah Love. I mean, whatever quarterback walks into that situation, whether it's Carson Beck now or Jacoby Brissett, they're set up to succeed. And I think Jeremiah Love is going to be a stud. I would have been perfectly fine if the Giants took him at 5, but I think he's going to be a great fit with Arizona. And I think him and Tyler Algier,
bro left to go be the guy, and then he just gets replaced by someone even way better than him.
So yeah, that's a little tough, but I think I really like that pick by the Cardinals. And shout out Notre Dame. I mean, man, they had 2 running backs drafted in the first round. First two in history, right?
The first RB1.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, All right, here, moving on to our next topic. We're moving pretty quick here, just the two of us. Kind of your biggest surprise, Pap, of the first round of someone who fell down the board. Is there one that really stood out to you?
I honestly thought, this might not be that crazy, but I really thought Mekhi Lemon was not going to end up in that 20 range. I thought he could have been now, I'm not saying he's going to get picked over Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson or anything like that. But I thought I could see him right around that area where it's Mekhi Lemon goes 13, 14, 15. I thought he was the Rams. I was like, that is the Rams pick. Ty Simpson. I was like, what the hell?
So let's talk about that Ty Simpson pick real quick as you just brought it up, because Ryan's not with us today. He's on his anniversary trip with his wife, so shout out to him. But he texted us and he texted me and said to make sure to reiterate that he hated the Rams pick of Ty Simpson. That was Ryan's one point to make on this episode, was that he did not like that draft pick. And I thought for sure Mekhi Lemon or even Kenyon Sadiq was going to be the pick there for the Rams because both those guys just fit their system so well. And Mekhi Lemon would have paired so well with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. What were your kind of thoughts on the Ty Simpson draft pick there, Pat?
It made no sense. I literally think they could have got him in the second round, but like as more reports came out, like obviously you saw Sean McVay, he looked livid. But then like apparently the more reports come out, the more they're like playing, they're like supposed to like they were calling him a lot secretly and saying like just act normal, blah 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 blah, like all this bullshit. Like no, you just reached the shit out of the draft. Like you just
They were
reached so bad that you had to start lying. Like that is like that could go like let's say Ty Simpson doesn't pan out, that could go down as one of the worst draft picks ever.
Yeah.
Because not because I mean it's only 13's not like a crazy spot, but like just where he's projected, that's a crazy reach for an MVP quarterback you're behind, and they had multiple positions they could have filled.
I just think, especially now, since there was even reports of before the draft where everybody's like, you know what, this is going to be Matt Stafford's last year. He just won the MVP, the whole announcement at the ceremony. Then there was talks of him even trying to extend his contract past this season with the Rams. Now it seems like obviously it's not the same situation with Kirk Cousins in Atlanta, but kind of to a sense it is because they drafted someone with such a premium pick. They drafted a quarterback with such a premium pick. Now you almost feel like you're forced to play him eventually. Obviously not this year. He won't even be close to playing. But you're going to feel that pressure next offseason. Like, hey, we just spent a top 15 pick on a quarterback. And are we going to extend our older quarterback, but who's been a top 5 quarterback in the NFL the past couple of years? Or are we going to start the clock over here? I just think I don't really understand the decision. I really don't. I think this was something especially when it wasn't their pick, it was the Falcons pick that they got in their trade last year for the Rams first round pick. Why not take a positional need? Why not get better to try and capitalize on Matt Stafford's window? I mean, they were a game away from the Super Bowl last year, or even you could even say a possession away from the Super Bowl last year. So it's tough. I don't really understand it. I'm reading Ryan's text right here. He goes, my 1 point, I think the Rams were stupid in all caps for drafting Ty Simpson. So, but going back to our main point here, the biggest surprises of someone who fell, I think obviously there was a lot of kind of drama circling around him coming into the draft, but I think Ruben Bain falling to 15 with, short arms, T-Rex arms. But with him falling to 15 with the Bucks kind of surprised me a little bit, just simply because I thought someone would take a chance on him just because of his upside. Even if you move him down to the middle as a defensive tackle, not even a defensive end. I don't know. I just think he was a stud. He was a dog at Miami. He was really good in the national championship game. Obviously, there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that came out with his kind of personal life that had happened a year ago that may have caused him to slide a little bit. But strictly talking about football, I think it was a little interesting that he fell all the way to 15. And then on the flip side here, Pat, do you think there was anybody where you were like, whoa, obviously we just talked about Ty Simpson, but like, whoa, that was a reach of a pick in the first round here, focusing on the first round. There was someone that stands out.
I know you said the Browns did well. I don't like AC Conception, whatever is the Conception. I just don't like him as a player. He has like a lot of drops. When I tell you, like I've watched him play. Like I don't know why I watch A&M a lot last year, but he drops the ball like no other. Like he doesn't. Like that's someone where like, you're not going to have this premier quarterback at the Browns who's going to give that ball in the money. You have to go make a play. I don't know if he's capable of making that play. I've seen him catch balls at the 5 yard or like 5 yards in the field and go make the play. But when you have to go get the ball, I just don't know if he can do it. So I thought of like receivers. I was like, I just didn't see that. I didn't see him in the first round for me.
Yeah, and then I think for me, I think it was Carnell Tate to the Titans. I understand that was a big positional need for them, but I didn't really understand the spot in which they drafted him in. It felt like, the Titans really wanted Jeremiah Love. I felt like they made that pretty well known that they wanted Jeremiah Love. But then obviously with him going to the Cardinals, I felt like they kind of pivoted. But I don't know. I don't see that much out of Carnell Tate. I think he's going to be a decent NFL wide receiver, but I don't know if he has the kind of body shape or any kind of skill to be like a premier wide receiver one where you spend a top 5 pick. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pap? What are your thoughts on Carnell Tate?
I don't think Carnell Tate was the best wide receiver in the draft.
I think Jordan Tyson.
I think Jordan Tyson was. But I totally agree. I mean, That's someone who, yeah, he was good, but he wasn't even the best receiver on his team. So you're not getting CB1. You didn't have to play CB1 one time in your career at Ohio State. So now you go to the Titans and you are the guy, and you got to face McDuffie. Trying to think of other premier corners. Surtain. We're talking about guys that you are going to get absolutely worked and look like a fool
Ross
against.
Gardner's in his division.
Oscar's in his division. Those are guys that like you haven't seen anything like that because you didn't even get to face like Pond from Indiana. He didn't even have to get guarded by him. Like he's not even facing the best in college. So what makes you think he's gonna get thrown into the mix as wide receiver one and just like make it work? And he's not 4 value. He's like 10, 11. He would be a great spot for the Rams.
Yeah.
The Rams, he would be an awesome pick. But like he just got kind of thrown into a spot. The Giants would have been an awesome pick if they would have took him because that's wide receiver 2, would have matched well with neighbors. But no, you put him right at wide receiver 1 with nobody else to help you, and you just got to figure it out.
It's basically all reliant that Calvin Ridley can get back to old Calvin Ridley ways to kind of take some of that pressure off of him, and I just don't see that happening. And that was my next point. You just brought it up with the Giants. I would have been perfectly fine if the Giants would have taken him or Jordan Tyson to just kind of pair up with Malik Neighbors because I think they both complemented Neighbors really well. But obviously the Giants went another route there. Really quick here, is there any kind of steal of the draft that you think in the first round? Like someone that fell down the boards and you were just obviously we mentioned
First round?
Yeah. We'll do like the first 3 rounds. We'll do the first 3 rounds. Is there anybody that slid really far down the board that you were like, okay, this is a good pick? First pick in the
Was he
4th round, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's 4th round, but still, that's someone I had to address. I had to address it because he literally could be a like Pro Bowl corner out of like that. Like he literally is like he probably could be the best corner in the draft. Just like he just didn't have a season, and that was unfortunate. But that could be the steal of the entire draft if he performs. Getting the someone in the 4th round that plays like he will. See though.
Yeah, there's a ton of question marks with him, just with his knee and everything like that. But I mean, the upside on that, I feel like I would have been completely fine if like even the Giants would have taken a chance on him with like a 3rd round pick, whatever. Just because the upside is unbelievable with that guy. If his knee is even 90% as healthy as it once was, I think he can still be a top 15, top 20 cornerback in the NFL. But for me, someone who kind of fell into the late 1st round that I was really surprised on was Omar Cooper Jr. To the New York Jets going 30th. There was a lot of talk of him going 16th to the Jets, where they ended up going Kenyon Sadiq. But I really like him. He was a dog at Indiana. He made that unbelievable catch of the year at Penn State, where everybody talks about it. But I mean, just his route skills, his ball skills, just everything like that, just the ability to make these unbelievable catches that hopefully the New York Jets can get a quarterback soon enough, because having Garrett Wilson, Kenyon Sadiq, and now Omar Cooper, they really need someone good to throw these guys the ball because there's a ton of talent on that offensive side of the ball. I want to see it used. Obviously, I'm not a Jets fan by any means, but I would rather see these good players be utilized instead of just being stuck on a shitty team for 10 years like Garrett Wilson's going to be. Any other kind of really big draft picks that stood out to you, Pat, before we kind of give our last little late predictions here?
Interesting. I mean, I think it was a little bit of a reach, but also I think it could pan out well. He's a good cornerback. I kind of hate to like shit on the Chiefs because they've won 3 Super Bowls, and like it's like they usually don't trade up and make the big picks. They don't have the big picks, so they must really think this is the guy. So I hope he is the guy.
He is. Everybody was saying his pro comp is Trent McDuffie, and he is going to the Chiefs to replace Trent McDuffie. So I think that was a great pick. For me, I think a big surprise was the Giants getting Arvell Reese at 5. I didn't even think that was going to be possible for them. I did not think he was going to be available. I'm still a little curious to see how he's going to fit into this defense, because a lot of people saw him as an NFL edge rusher, but the Giants are going to be using him at will linebacker. So it's going to be a big question. I don't really know how it's going to pan out. Obviously, I hope it does, but It's a little interesting just because with Sonny Styles was there, who that's his normal position, but now you're taking a chance on Arvel Reese, who I think has more upside, but has a higher chance of, being a bust, as they call him, just because he doesn't usually normally play that position. So last thing we're going to talk about here, Pep, is there someone in this draft who really stands out to you that could be the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year? Right now, I mean, this is basically 9 months before these awards are even announced. Before they even play a snap, is there someone who you think you could pick for both of those awards?
I'd say for offensive rookie of the year, it's pretty easy for me to say Jeremiah Love. I mean, it's my goat. So, I mean, that's like someone who I think he literally would have to have like a 1,000-yard season and he'd probably get it just because like their Cardinals won't be very. I don't think the Cardinals will be great. So, I mean, he's just gonna. I think Fernando Mendoza might just be okay. I don't know. I don't know with Mendoza yet. So, probably
He's going to play that much this year either.
I think just O'Roy, Love, and then Depoy. I think David Bailey's just gonna ball out. I think he's gonna ball out. I just hate people hate on him. It's like he's not the two. Watch that man work.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might not be that good. He might not be like too worthy, but like I think he's good. I think he's a good player. I think he's gonna work well in the Jet system with Aaron Glenn as the coach, defensive guy. I think that's just gonna be a good spot for him. I think that could be their kind of like their guy to kind of get the wheels rolling for them.
Mm. Yeah, I think they made the right pick. They were looking for more of a true edge rusher, as I just mentioned with Arvel Reese, and Arvel Reese was kind of that hybrid role, and David Bailey brings you that more traditional true edge rusher, and I think that's what the Jets needed. Those were the exact two guys I was going to go with for offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year because it's tough. I mean, I feel like most defensive rookie of the years are edge guys who get a ton of sacks or a ton of interceptions or whatever the stat might be, especially with Jeremiah Love being the second technical offensive player off the board, but he will have the most chances to get a ton of scrimmage yards, whether that is rushing or receiving with the Arizona Cardinals. The last question here, Pep, if you had to pick, I hate doing this when these guys haven't even played a game, but obviously everybody does it. Is there someone in the first round where you could see just kind of be a big old flop for whatever team that drafted him?
Probably Caden Proctor to the Dolphins.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's just I was kind of big on him going like 17 to the Lions, but at 11, expectations go from here to here. So you're gonna have to really play well in a team that's dog shit.
Mine is Caleb Banks to the Minnesota Vikings. I believe it was pick 18 or 19. He had a ton of injury question marks coming into it. Obviously, he's a really good player, but I don't know. I don't see it was a really big reach in my opinion. I even thought he was going to be there in the second round, but I don't know. He could end up being a great player, but I just think there's too many injury question marks. I don't really know how well he fits into that Brian Flores defense. But obviously, these guys haven't even played a snap yet in the NFL, so who knows? We're just all kind of predicting here, going off of fits and everything like that. So, Pat, you got anything left to say here on this draft recap?
Bills are ass.
Yeah, shout out the Bills are ass. Actually, there was one more thing Ryan wanted me to say. Pap just reminded me he had one more. His two big takeaways, his steals of the draft. I meant to mention these when we were talking about steals. Ryan said Jacob Rodriguez to the Dolphins in the second round, and then Skylar Bell. I believe he was drafted in the either late second round or early third round, one of the two. He was somewhere in that area. He's a wide receiver from UConn. And then, of course, Ryan says the Bills got exactly what they needed with Bell and with TJ Parker with their D-line. Of course, Ryan's never going to say anything bad, but I think the Bills overall had a very good draft, and I think the Lions had a good draft, and I think the Giants had a pretty good draft, and I think the Panthers had a good draft. I think all of our teams had a pretty decent draft. So, obviously,
the Bills are still ass.
The Bills are still ass. Hopefully they are. I still don't think they'll be able to get over the hump, but
No.
that's a topic for another day. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Obviously, like I mentioned at the start, this will probably be our last NFL one here for at least a month or so, as there's really nothing going on in the football world over the next couple weeks. Obviously, we'll see a lot of swish theory with Pap, Sean, and Troy as the NBA playoffs start kind of heading along here. Baseball, golf, all those podcasts. Make sure to check out the social media pages, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the website, allsportsfocusnetwork.com. Go get your Focus Golf stuff. Pap, anything left to say?
Shout out to the Swish Theory. As I start cranking out some episodes before I can wake up. So we'll just kind of a lot of content coming from there with the NBA playoffs kind of getting into full stride right now. So check it out. It's fun.
Put in perspective, we are recording this at 12:15 a Wednesday, and Troy could not wake up for it. So that's why it's just me and Pap. So like I said, go check out all the social media pages, all that good stuff. Be on the lookout for the next Swish Theory podcast coming out here soon. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.